Long after the elevators stopped chiming and the last executives hurried home, the headquarters of Kuroda International settled into its nighttime silence. The glass walls reflected empty desks, glowing screens, and the quiet ambition of a company that never truly slept. Daniel moved through it all without a sound. He pushed his mop slowly across the marble floor, careful not to leave streaks. The smell of cleaning solution clung to his clothes, mixing with the faint scent of expensive cologne left behind by people who earned more in a month than he did in a year. His back ached, his hands were rough, but his thoughts were elsewhere, on his daughter, Emma. At home, Emma would be asleep by now, her school bag neatly packed for the morning. Daniel had folded her favorite sweater before leaving for his shift, whispering a promise he made every night: "This won't be forever." Most employees never noticed him. Some walked past while scrolling on their phones. Others avoided eye contact entirely. To them, Daniel wasn't a father, or a man with dreams, he was just the cleaner who worked nights. That evening, a ripple of tension moved through the building. Security guards straightened their posture. Managers whispered urgently. Hiroshi Kuroda, the company's reclusive CEO, had arrived without warning. He walked slowly through the lobby, his footsteps sharp against the marble, his expression unreadable. Known for speaking rarely and expecting perfection, his presence alone made seasoned executives uneasy. Daniel kept his head down, focusing on the floor in front of him. He had no reason to look up. Men like Kuroda lived in a different world, a world Daniel no longer belonged to. But fate had other plans. As the CEO paused near the lobby, his reflection appeared in the polished floor Daniel had just cleaned. For a brief moment, the invisible man and the powerful executive shared the same space, unaware that in seconds, a single sentence would shatter the silence and change everything. "Mr." Kuroda stopped near the center of the lobby, his gaze fixed on the towering glass walls as if they disappointed him. The executives behind him waited, stiff and silent, afraid to interrupt. Then, almost to himself, he spoke, low, measured, and in Japanese. "The surface is beautiful, but the core is weak." The words weren't meant for anyone else. They were a private thought spoken aloud. Daniel's hands slowed on the mop. The sentence hit him like a reflex, familiar, instinctive. Years of study, late nights in Tokyo, technical debates over coffee, they all rushed back. He didn't look up. He didn't even think. If the foundation is weak, no structure can stand for long. The sound of his voice shattered the stillness. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the lobby. One executive dropped his phone. Another turned pale. The security guards froze mid-step. "Mr." Kuroda's body stiffened. Slowly, deliberately, the CEO turned around. His eyes locked onto Daniel, the man holding a mop, wearing a faded uniform with a stitched name tag. For a moment, no one spoke. The hum of the building seemed louder than ever. Daniel realized what he had done. His heart slammed against his ribs. He lowered his eyes, gripping the mop handle tightly. "I'm sorry, sir," he said quickly, now in English. "I didn't mean to." "Where, Mr." Kuroda interrupted, his voice calm but razor sharp. "Did you learn my language?" Daniel swallowed. He had answered instinctively, forgetting where he was, or who he was speaking to. Around them, executives watched as if time itself had paused. A cleaner wasn't supposed to understand Japanese. He certainly wasn't supposed to reply. The silence stretched, heavy and unforgiving. Daniel straightened slowly, meeting the CEO's gaze for the first time. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled as he said, "I lived it, sir." And in that moment, the balance of the room shifted, because the invisible man was invisible no longer. For the first time, Mr. Kuroda's expression softened, almost imperceptibly. The steel walls of his stoic demeanor seemed to shift, if only slightly. He took a slow step toward Daniel, his gaze probing, measuring, not the mop in his hands, not the uniform, but the man beneath. "Tell me," he said, voice calm but commanding, "how does a janitor speak like this?" Daniel swallowed hard. He could feel the weight of every pair of eyes on him, the executives frozen, the guards tense, the building itself seeming to lean closer. I used to be a mechanical engineer," Daniel began, his voice low but steady. "I studied in Tokyo. I had a scholarship. I worked on projects I thought would change lives. I Lost my wife, sir. Medical bills, my daughter, I couldn't keep my career. I had to take work where I could. He paused, swallowing the lump in his throat. Cleaning floors, it's honest work. I do it for my daughter. But it's not who I am. It's not where I belong. Mr. Kuroda studied him silently, taking in the worn sneakers, the tired lines etched into Daniel's face, the quiet determination in his eyes. There was no pretense here, only truth. The kind of truth that money, power, or prestige could never buy. You understand structure, the CEO finally said, speaking slowly in Japanese, a faint edge of approval in his voice. You know the importance of a strong foundation, not just in buildings, but in people, in companies. Daniel nodded, unsure if he should speak or remain silent. Talent, Mr. Kuroda continued, switching to English, should never be wasted. I've spent years seeking people who see beyond the surface. I see that in you. The executives shifted uneasily. They had seen Mr. Kuroda praise no one. Not a single person in this company had earned such words. Yet here, standing in a mop-streaked lobby, Daniel had done it without trying. Daniel felt a strange mix of disbelief and hope. For years, he had moved through life invisible, unnoticed. And now, a single sentence, a moment of instinct, had pierced the walls of the CEO's indifference. The lobby remained quiet, but it no longer felt heavy, it felt charged. A spark had been lit, and Daniel could sense that life as he knew it was about to change. He just didn't know how much. Yet, the following morning, Daniel arrived at Kuroda International at his usual hour, mop and bucket in hand. But something was different. The lobby, usually silent except for the echo of his footsteps, buzzed with quiet anticipation. Whispers floated among the security guards and junior staff, words like, CEO's new discovery, and, talent found. Before he could even start, an assistant approached him, slightly hesitant. Mr. Daniel, Mr. Kuroda wants to see you. Daniel froze. His hands instinctively gripped the mop. For what? He asked, though he already feared the answer. You'll see, the assistant replied. Moments later, he was escorted past the glass walls, past the familiar offices he had always observed from afar, past the elevators he never dared ride. Finally, he reached a corner office, larger than any room he had ever been in. And there, behind a sleek desk, sat Hiroshi Kuroda himself. Sit, the CEO said. Daniel hesitated, then obeyed. You have knowledge, Mr. Kuroda said, leaning forward, fingers steepled. Skills that could benefit this company, skills that are wasted sweeping floors. I am offering you a position as a technical consultant. Your expertise, your language, your insight. Daniel blinked. The words barely registered. I don't understand, he stammered. I mean, why me? Because, Kuroda said, voice calm but firm, while others see a cleaner, I see potential. While others see a floor to be polished, I see the foundation of a man who can rebuild. Talent like yours is rare, and I do not waste it. His heart pounded. A consulting role, triple his current salary, flexible hours, benefits for Emma. His mind raced ahead to possibilities he had long given up. By the time Daniel returned home, the sun was dipping low in the sky. Emma ran to meet him at the door, backpack bouncing on her shoulders. Daddy, she exclaimed. He swept her into his arms, spinning her around, laughing, a sound he hadn't made in years. As they walked home hand in hand, Daniel felt the weight of invisibility lift. The streets looked different now, brighter. He realized the mop in his hand had only been a temporary instrument, not his identity. His worth had never been defined by what he swept away, but by what he carried within, skill, knowledge, and resilience. Sometimes, he thought, the floor you're standing on is not where you belong. Sometimes, the world doesn't notice you, until you speak, truly speak, from the heart. And sometimes, that one sentence, said at exactly the right moment, can change everything. Daniel glanced at Emma, smiling at her bright, curious eyes, and knew one thing for certain, this was just the beginning.